Good afternoon, ECCT. Continuing on with our devotion series in Philippians. Today we'll be looking at verses 12 to 18 in chapter 1. And so this is continuing on from where we left off on Monday. I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. Some indeed preach Christ from envy and rivalry, but others from goodwill. The latter do it out of love, knowing that I am put here for the defense of the gospel. The former proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, but thinking to afflict me in my imprisonment. What then? Only that in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. Very powerful passage here, and I think mainly there's two things to notice. Just the single-mindedness that Paul has when it comes to the proclamation of the gospel. Like, for him, it is his first, if not only, priority in life. That's why he is able to say such remarkable things that, he talks about his imprisonment, which was pretty serious circumstances. He talks about his imprisonment as if it was nothing, as if it was just this kind of stepping stone, the next stage for the advancement of the gospel. Because at this point, Paul had been pretty much all over the Mediterranean Sea, right? Traveled to all these different places throughout the Roman Empire, proclaiming the gospel, and now he was finally being imprisoned for it. And he sees all of these things as situations that God has called him to further the movement of the gospel even more. And what he focuses on is not his own suffering and his own kind of negative situation, but that his situation actually empowers others to speak for Christ, to speak on behalf of Christ. And that is something that he rejoices in. And again, Philippians, this whole letter, one big theme of it is the joy of working for the Lord, the joy of experiencing the ministry of God and the building of his kingdom, and joy in all circumstances. And so Paul says something remarkable in light of this, that he says that in this new situation, some people preach Christ out of goodwill, and others preach Christ out of envy and rivalry. So possibly church leaders saw what was happening to Paul and other Christians admiring him for what he has done and what he has sacrificed for the church, and maybe some of these leaders also wanted that kind of reputation, wanted that glory, and so they try and preach Christ even more. And so Paul points out that they have the wrong motivations for it, but that's all he says. He doesn't condemn them for it either, because what's that? What do we talk about? His first priority is the proclamation of the gospel. And so he says this remarkable statement, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. So once again, based on his first priority, he finds something to be thankful for, he finds something to rejoice for, because his single-mindedness of the gospel. And so that's something that we can kind of take from Paul here, having a single-mindedness and a single priority for the proclamation of the gospel.